Here's the most ironic shit you'll ever hear. Women spend decades telling men to be more sensitive, more emotional, less aggressive, less masculine. They shame men for traditional masculinity, call it toxic, demand men become softer, gentler, more feminine. And then what happens? Those same women turn around and complain there are no real men left. They created exactly what they asked for and now they're disgusted by it. Let me explain this insane paradox, because once you understand it, you'll see why modern dating is such a disaster. For 50 years, women have been systematically dismantling traditional masculinity. Don't be aggressive, share your feelings, cry more, be vulnerable, let women lead, check your privilege. Masculinity is toxic. They've turned schools into emotional safe spaces where boys can't even play tag because it's too aggressive. They've drugged boys with ADHD medication for acting like boys. They've created a society where masculine behaviour is pathologized and feminine behaviour is celebrated. And guess what? It worked. They successfully created a generation of soft, emotional, passive men who ask for permission to kiss them, split the check on dates, and cry during romantic comedies. Men who won't approach them because that's harassment. Men who won't lead because that's patriarchal. Men who won't protect them because that's toxic masculinity. Congratulations, ladies. You got exactly what you ordered. But here's where it gets hilarious. These same women who demanded sensitive men are now on dating apps complaining, where have all the real men gone? They're in their therapist's office crying about how their boyfriend is too nice and they're not feeling the spark. They're fantasizing about being dominated while dating men they've trained to ask permission before touching them. I had a female client last month, successful lawyer, strong independent woman, all that bullshit. She spent years dating the exact type of man she said she wanted. Sensitive, feminist, emotional, supportive. You know what she told me? I feel like I'm dating my girlfriend with a penis. There's no sexual tension. He asks permission for everything. I want him to just take charge, but he's terrified of offending me. Lady, you created him. You and every woman like you spent decades telling men that taking charge is toxic, that male leadership is oppression, that masculine energy is dangerous. And now you're surprised that men believed you. You're shocked that men adapted to what you said you wanted. This is like ordering a salad and then complaining it's not a steak. The systematic destruction of masculinity started in schools. Little boys can't sit still for 8 hours? Drug them. They want to wrestle and compete? That's too aggressive, give them time out. They want to play war? That's promoting violence, make them play house instead. We've literally criminalised normal boy behaviour and then wonder why we're producing weak, confused men. Then it continues through adolescence. Teenage boys are told their natural sexual desires are predatory, their competitiveness is toxic, their desire to protect and provide is outdated. They're taught that being a man is something to apologise for, not something to embrace. The future is female, they're told. Step aside and let women lead. So they do, and then women complain there are no leaders left. Look at dating apps. Women's profiles are full of demands. Must be 6 feet tall, make 6 figures, own a house, have a car, be funny, be confident, take charge, plan dates, pay for everything. But men's profiles? I'm a feminist. I respect women. I'll treat you like a queen. I'm not like other guys. They've been trained to apologise for being men before they even match. And when these neutered men try to date, disaster. They ask, is this okay? Every 5 seconds, they're terrified of making a move. They text for weeks without asking for a date because they don't want to seem pushy. They treat women like fragile porcelain dolls who might shatter if they express any masculine energy. It's not attractive, it's pathetic, and women know it. But here's the thing. Men didn't choose this. They adapted to survive. In the current social climate, traditional masculine behaviour can destroy your life. Approach a woman wrong? Sexual harassment. Express attraction. Objectification. Take charge at work. Toxic masculinity. Show aggression in competition. Problematic behaviour. Men have learned that the safest path is complete passivity. I counsel guys all the time who are absolutely terrified of women. Not because they're weak, but because they're smart. They've seen what happens when you misread signals. They've watched careers destroyed by accusations. They've seen men's lives ruined for behaviour that was normal 20 years ago. So they choose safety over masculinity. Can you blame them? And you. Meanwhile, women are getting exactly what they asked for and hating it. They wanted emotional men. Now their boyfriend cries more than they do. They wanted equal partners. Now nobody makes decisions because everything needs consensus. They wanted non-aggressive men. Now nobody will protect them when shit goes down. Be careful what you wish for. The military knows this. You know why combat effectiveness drops when you feminize training? Because war doesn't give a fuck about your feelings. When bullets start flying, you need aggression, hierarchy, instant decision-making, controlled violence. All the traits we've been breeding out of men for 2 generations. We're creating men who can't protect anyone, including themselves. And women feel this on a primal level. Their conscious mind says they want a sensitive feminist ally, but their biology wants a protector, a provider, a leader. This creates cognitive dissonance. They date the men they think they should want, but their bodies don't respond. No tingles, no attraction, no arousal, because you can't negotiate with biology. I see this constantly in my practice. Woman comes in complaining about her toxic ex-boyfriend. He was aggressive, dominant, made decisions without consulting her, traditionally masculine. He was such an asshole, she says. Next sentence. The sex was incredible and I still think about him constantly. Then she shows me her current boyfriend. Soft, sweet, asks permission for everything. He's perfect on paper, but nothing. He's boring. He doesn't activate her primal attraction triggers. He doesn't make her feel feminine because he's not masculine. He doesn't create sexual tension because there's no danger, no edge, no power dynamic. He's been neutered by society, and now she wonders why she's not attracted to the eunuch she helped create. The workplace is where this gets really obvious. Companies push for collaborative leadership, consensus building, emotional intelligence, basically feminine leadership styles. And what happens? Decision-making slows to a crawl. Nobody wants to take responsibility. Everyone's afraid to be direct. Meetings become therapy sessions. Productivity plummets. Then they wonder why nothing gets done. Traditional male hierarchies existed for a reason. Clear leadership, defined responsibilities, decisive action, competitive meritocracy. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. It built civilizations, won wars, created prosperity. Now we've replaced it with feel-good circle jerks where nobody's in charge and everyone's feelings matter more than results. And who suffers most? Women. Because while they've been busy dismantling masculinity, they still expect men to perform traditional masculine roles when convenient. Pay for dates, but don't expect sex. Protect them, but don't be violent. Lead, but don't be dominant. Provide, but don't expect appreciation. Be masculine, but only when they want it, how they want it, without being told when or how. This selective empowerment is destroying relationships. Women want all the benefits of feminism and all the benefits of traditionalism. They want to be independent but also provided for. They want to lead but also be led. They want equality when it benefits them and special treatment when it doesn't. And men are checking out because the game is rigged. Young men today are completely fucked. They're raised by single mothers who teach them to be nice. They go to schools run by women who punish masculine behaviour. They consume media that portrays masculinity as either toxic or buffoonish. They enter a dating market where being a man is a liability. Then society wonders why they're retreating into video games and porn. The video game thing is telling. You know why young men spend thousands of hours gaming? Because it's the only place left where masculine values still work. Clear objectives, competition, hierarchy based on skill, rewards for achievement. No feelings, no consensus needed, no apologies for winning. It's the last refuge of traditional masculine psychology. And porn is not about sex, it's about simplicity. No mixed signals, no shit tests, no emotional manipulation, no fear of false accusations, just straightforward sexual exchange without the minefield of modern dating. Is it healthy? Number. But it's safer than trying to navigate the impossible contradictions of what modern women say they want versus what they actually respond to. The birth rate collapse makes perfect sense in this context. Why would men sign up for marriage and children when the deal is so bad? You're expected to be the primary provider while being told your contribution doesn't matter. You're supposed to be an equal partner while having no actual authority. You risk losing half your assets and access to your kids if she's unhappy. That's not a partnership, it's a suicide pact. Here's what's really fucked. The men who are still traditionally masculine, they're killing it. While everyone else is confused about gender roles, these guys are cleaning up. Women are so starved for actual masculinity that when they encounter it, they lose their minds. That's why the bad boys always win. Not because women like being treated badly, but because these men haven't been neutered. I know this player, complete arsehole by any measure, doesn't ask permission, doesn't apologise, doesn't compromise, takes what he wants, says what he thinks, leads without consensus. You know what? Women line up for him. The same women who post feminist quotes on Instagram are begging for his attention, because he's one of the few men left who hasn't been domesticated. This creates a brutal dating market. The masculine men have multiple options and no need to commit. The feminized men have no options and nothing to offer. Women bounce between bad boys who won't commit and nice guys they're not attracted to. Everyone's miserable. And it's all because we destroyed the system that actually worked. The traditional system wasn't perfect, but it was functional. Men knew what was expected, provide and protect. Women knew what was expected, nurture and support. Everyone knew their role, their value, their contribution. There was clarity. Now, nobody knows what the fuck they're supposed to do. Men don't know how to be men, women don't know what they want, and everyone's confused. And before women in the comments start screeching about going back to the 1950s, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you can't have it both ways. You can't destroy traditional masculinity and then complain there are no traditional men. You can't demand equality and then expect special treatment. You can't dismantle gender roles and then be surprised when men don't perform their traditional role. The solution isn't complicated, but it requires honesty. First, admit that masculine and feminine are complementary, not competitive. Different, but equal. Each has value, each has purpose. Stop trying to feminize men and masculinize women. Let boys be boys without drugging them. Let men be men without shaming them. Second, be consistent. If you want traditional men, support traditional masculinity. If you want modern egalitarian relationships, stop expecting traditional male behavior. Pick a system and stick with it. This selective application where men get all the responsibilities of both systems but none of the benefits is unsustainable. Third, understand biology doesn't care about ideology. Women are attracted to masculine men. Men are attracted to feminine women. This isn't social conditioning, it's evolutionary hardwiring. You can fight it, but you'll lose. Every society that's tried to eliminate gender differences has collapsed. There's a reason for that. Fourth, bring back merit and accountability. Stop protecting women from the consequences of their choices while holding men fully responsible for theirs. If a woman chooses a bad boy and gets hurt, that's on her. If a man chooses to be passive and gets overlooked, that's on him. Equal rights means equal accountability. Look at successful relationships today. They almost always have clear gender polarity. Even in lesbian relationships, there's usually a more masculine and more feminine partner. Even in the most feminist couples, someone has to lead, someone has to follow. The couples who try to be completely equal in everything, they're either miserable or divorced. The men who are thriving today understand this. They've rejected the programming and embraced their nature. They lift weights while others take yoga. They build businesses while others seek work-life balance. They lead without apology while others ask permission. And guess what? Women flock to them, including the ones who claim to hate everything they represent. I tell young men this all the time. Stop listening to what women say they want. Watch what they respond to. They say they want sensitivity. Watch them chase the guy who doesn't give a fuck about their feelings. They say they want equality. Watch them submit to a man who takes charge. They say they hate toxic masculinity. Watch them fuck the most toxic guy they can find. This isn't women being dishonest. They genuinely believe they want these things. But belief and biology are different. Their conscious mind has been programmed by feminism, but their unconscious attraction triggers are millions of years old. And when the two conflict, biology wins every time. The tragedy is that everyone loses in this system. Men are confused and retreating. Women are frustrated and alone. Children grow up without fathers or with weak father figures. Society becomes less stable, less productive, less happy. All because we decided to wage war on human nature instead of working with it. Traditional gender roles evolved for a reason. They work. They create stable families, functional societies, clear expectations. When men know how to be men and women know how to be women, everything flows. When you try to make everyone the same, everything breaks. We're living through the breakdown right now. The pendulum is starting to swing back though. Young men are rediscovering masculinity through figures like Jordan Peterson, Jocko Willink, and yes, even Andrew Tate. They're rejecting the feminized programming and embracing their nature. They're lifting weights, starting businesses, setting boundaries. refusing to apologise for being men, and young women, they're starting to realise something's wrong too. They're tired of soft men who can't make decisions. They're tired of being the leader by default. They're tired of dating men who are more emotional than they are. They're starting to admit quietly that maybe their mother's generation got it wrong. But the damage is deep. We've raised 2 generations of men who don't know how to be men. We've created women who don't know what they want. We've destroyed the social technology that created stable families for thousands of years. And now we're surprised that everyone's miserable, alone and confused. The dating apps reveal the truth. Women swipe right on 4% of men, the ones who still display masculine traits: height, muscle, confidence, dominance, resources. All the things feminism says shouldn't matter. Meanwhile, the nice guys who followed the rules, who became what women said they wanted, they get nothing. 0 matches, 0 dates, 0 sex. This creates a vicious cycle. The few masculine men left have unlimited options, so they don't commit. Why would they? They can have a different woman every night. The feminized men have no options, so they become even more desperate and supplicating. Women bounce between alphas who won't commit and betas they're not attracted to. The solution starts with honesty. Women need to admit they created this problem. They demanded men changed, and now they don't like the result. You can't spend 50 years destroying masculinity and then wonder where all the masculine men went. They went where you told them to go, away. Men need to stop listening to female dating advice. Women give advice that would create the perfect girlfriend with a penis, not an attractive man. Just be yourself. Be more emotional. Share your feelings. This is advice for creating friends, not lovers. If you want to attract women, be masculine, period. We need to stop drugging boys for being boys. Stop punishing masculine behaviour in schools. Stop treating male sexuality as predatory. Stop shaming men for their nature. Let boys compete, fight safely, take risks, establish hierarchies. These aren't bugs in male psychology, they're features. We need to bring back male spaces and male mentorship. Boys need older men to teach them how to be men. Not women's idea of how men should be, but actual masculine wisdom passed down through generations. The destruction of male-only spaces has been catastrophic for male development. Women need to decide what they actually want and be consistent about it. If you want a traditional masculine man, you need to be a traditional feminine woman. If you want an egalitarian partnership, stop expecting traditional male behaviour. You can't demand a 1950s husband while being a 2024 feminist. Pick a lane. Most importantly, we need to acknowledge that men and women are different. Not better or worse, but different. With different strengths, different weaknesses, different needs, different roles. Complementary, not competitive. When we work together, we're unstoppable. When we work against each other, everyone loses. The current system is unsustainable. Marriage rates are plummeting. Birth rates are below replacement. Men are checking out. Women are increasingly alone. Children are growing up without fathers. Society is becoming more dysfunctional. This isn't progress, it's civilizational decline. But there's hope. Biology is stronger than ideology. No matter how much social programming tries to override it, nature finds a way. Men are rediscovering masculinity. Women are admitting they want masculine men. The pendulum is swinging back. The only question is how much damage will be done before we return to sanity. The red pill movement, for all its flaws, is a natural response to this insanity. Men are sharing notes, comparing experiences, figuring out what actually works versus what they've been told should work. They're discovering that everything they were taught about women and relationships was wrong, and they're pissed. Can you blame them? They followed the rules, became what women said they wanted, and got nothing. They were lied to their entire lives, told that being nice, sensitive, and feminist would make them attractive. Instead, they watched the toxic men they were told not to beget all the women they were told they'd get by being good. The gaslighting is incredible. Men express frustration about this, and they're called incels, misogynist, toxic. But they're just pointing out the obvious contradiction. Women say they want one thing, but choose another, and when men notice this pattern and adapt, they're the bad guys. Make it make sense. Here's what nobody talks about, the women who get it. The ones who appreciate masculine men, support their partner's leadership, understand complementary roles. They're in happy, stable relationships while their feminist friends are alone with their cats wondering where all the good men went. These women understood that fighting human nature is a losing battle. I counsel couples where the woman actively supports her man's masculinity. She encourages him to lift weights, make decisions, take charge. She creates space for him to be masculine. And you know what? These relationships thrive. The sex is great, the partnership works. Everyone's happy because they're working with biology, not against it. The corporate world is slowly waking up to this too. Companies that embrace masculine leadership principles, clear hierarchy, decisive action, competitive meritocracy, outperform those drowning in consensus building and feelings. The most successful companies are returning to what works, not what sounds nice in a diversity seminar. Here's the bottom line. Women created the men they now complain about. They demanded sensitivity, got it, and hate it. They destroyed traditional masculinity and now wonder where the real men went. They changed the rules and are upset men adapted to the new rules. You made your bed, now lie in it. Or better yet, admit you were wrong. Admit that traditional masculinity has value. Admit that you're attracted to strong, confident, decisive men. Admit that the feminist experiment has failed. Admit that men and women are different and that's okay. Admit that you want a man who acts like a man, not a woman with a penis. To the men reading this, stop apologizing for being men. Stop asking permission to be masculine. Stop listening to what women say and watch what they do. Be strong, be confident, take charge, set boundaries, lift weights, build something, compete, win. The women who matter will respond. The ones who don't weren't worth your time anyway. To the women reading this, be honest about what you want. If you want a masculine man, support masculine men. Stop trying to feminize men and then complaining they're not masculine enough. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Choose what you want and accept the trade-offs that come with it. Drop a comment below about your experience with this. Men, have you been told to be sensitive only to be rejected for it? Women, do you find yourself attracted to men who embody the toxic traits you claim to hate? Let's have an honest conversation about this, because until we admit the truth, nothing will change. And if nothing changes, everyone loses.